Alrighty, hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday's stream, or 3 days ago stream, a stream that happened several days ago was this game, and it didn't go very well because I booted up for the first time and I had terrible audio settings, and I want to talk about political theory, and I didn't really get to because I was bad at playing this game, and the stream wasn't working out, and we're gonna try again now. With all the proper settings. We're not going to make a new game. There's no need to do that. Also, we don't need to go through the tutorial again. I'm just going to name the last part we did, episode 0. And as you can see in the top right of my stream, I actually have it working now. And when I press play, it is going to play. And I lowered the sound settings from last time. I have them all. And I turned myself up. So hopefully I'm speaking at the right volume. I did a little bit of audio testing with this before I started the stream. And I think it's much better than it was last time. We're going to click continue game. And yeah, we're going to be listening to yesterday's lecture, or the last time's lecture, again. And I believe I do have subtitles on. That is one thing I didn't check. We're back at relatively intact shipping company. Alrighty, perfect. Convoys. Oh, is this like multiplayer? Okay, perfect. Is there anything I need to do? I would like to look at how expensive trucks are before we... Oh, no, we have to drive to a dealership to do that, right? Oh, but we don't have a car, so we can just go to whatever dealership we want, right? I don't want to go truck configuration, truck upgrade, truck dealers. Here we go. Volvo. Okay, buy online. Yeah, we can just look. Okay, so 118,000 for a classic sleeper, but I need, oh, okay, so I really only have choice between 2 trucks. They're very similar as well. Same torque, same horsepower. What's the difference? They're both sleepers. This one has like a slightly nicer looking cab. And yeah, we're not level 10 yet. I think we'll maybe save up. Or get to level 8 or level 10 before we buy it. Because, I feel like you only want to buy one truck. At least for yourself. Anyway, yeah, we want the Globetrotter XL probably, eh? Considering it's the one that we have in our thing. Anyway, let's get right to the game. Thanks for being patient. And, no, I'd like a quick job, yes. Okay, let's go price per distance. Let's just double check I have it right there. 371. Yeah, 22.95. Alright, perfect. We'll do this one. Okay, let's see if I remember how to play the game. Shift to shift up, control to shift down. E to start the engine. Okay, our game sounds now are actually really quite quiet. Actually, no, I think this is fine. Okay. Shift into first here. It's a 406-kilometer journey. We got a full tank. We're well rested. I remember how to play this game. What are we moving? Tractors. I didn't even look at what we were moving. Okay, let's get the Relatively Civil Discourse, Political Philosophy Convoy started once again. Alrighty, perfect. Turn right here. Not gonna get caught in the fence. Excellent. Alright. Oh, and we can try and do our first mission without getting, or our first job without getting a ticket. Also, if I hit like 100 followers or something on this channel, I'll get a quieter keyboard. I've been thinking about that. I've been trying to fix the audio for these streams, because it's kind of difficult to figure out how to do it right. Oh shit. Okay, good braking. Just getting back into the swing of things, folks. And I'm going to wait till we're on the road before we start the lecture. This is not a bad truck. Jesus, this is a long light. You could just go. Okay, my turn. Perfect. Okay, watch it out on the left there. Marvelous. Also, 6-hour drive. That's quite a drive in this game for us. Oh, you can even see how many kilometers are on the truck. That's cool. Oh, we're gonna get fined for speeding a bunch because we're driving too fast within the city. Gotta watch out for that. Although I really don't care about getting fined about speeding. We're gonna run this. Very good. And we didn't get caught. Most important. We're almost getting out of the road. And do I have subtitles enabled? I have subtitles enabled. It'll be fine. We can check.
Let me start today by
Well, is this working?
asking
it's working.
the question, what is political philosophy?
Oh, gotta break. Gotta break. Oh.
Custom
Yep, it's
dictates
working.
that I say some.
Okay. Oh, braking, turning right. Braking, turning right. Okay, that was a little bit dicey there because I wasn't paying attention, but that's fine. Let's turn our lights on. There we go. Lights make it easier to drive. Okay, perfect. And we do have subtitles. Okay, turning left. Oh shit, start right here. Oh, we got the cops on the left. Alright, and we're off. Okay, let's merge. Find this truck. Okay, marvelous. Let's get over. Perfect. Okay. 387 kilometers to go. Let's pop it on.
Something about
Yeah, this is much
subject
better.
matter of discourse.
Maybe I should turn them down a little bit.
This, in some ways, might seem a case of putting the cart before the horse, or the cart before the course, maybe, because
Oh, also, before we get started, it is Saturday, April 23rd. It is in the evening, and I hope you're having a great day.
how can we say what political philosophy is in advance of doing it? Anyway, let me try to say something that might be useful. In one sense, you could say political philosophy is simply a branch, or what we call a subfield, of the field of political science. Yes? Right? It exists alongside of other areas of political inquiry like American government, comparative politics, and international relations. Yet in another sense, political philosophy is something much different than simply a subfield. It seems to be the oldest and most fundamental part of political science. Its purpose is to lay bare, as it were, the fundamental problems, the fundamental concepts and categories which frame the study of politics.
I think, first of all, I think he's right on the money there, and I think this is why I like political philosophy and political theory more than all other subfields of political science, is because this is the sector of political science that, first of all, I feel is actually about the study of politics, and secondly is, I feel most concerned with actually solving our modern problems rather than describing them. Must not click fast forward.
In this respect, it seems to me much less like just a branch of political science than a foundation of the entire discipline.
Exactly.
The study of political philosophy often begins, as this course will do also, with the study of the great books, or some of the great books of our field. Political philosophy is the oldest of the social sciences, and it can boast a wealth of heavy hitters, from Plato and Aristotle to Machiavelli, Hobbes, Hegel, Tocqueville, Nietzsche, and so on.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, political science really does have so many fascinating, great thinkers. Lots of famous ones.
I'd say that the best way to find out what political philosophy is simply to study and read the works of those who have shaped the field, yes? Right? But to do that is, I recognize, not without dangers, often severe dangers of its own. Why study just these thinkers and not others? Isn't any so-called list of great thinkers or great texts likely to be simply arbitrary, and to tell us more about what such a list excludes?
I don't think we're going to get ticketed for this run.
Furthermore, it would seem that the study of the great books or great thinkers of the past can easily degenerate into a kind of antiquarianism, into a sort of pedantry. We find ourselves easily intimidated by a list of famous names and end up not thinking for ourselves. Furthermore, doesn't the study of old
Very good point, by the way.
often...
Sorry, I do find it very difficult to pay attention to the road, looking to see if anyone's in chat, and listening to the lecture without actually being able to look at it. So it is probably gonna take a few episodes for me to get a little bit more proficient at my commentary. Not just saying I agree or I disagree. Also, this guy's way smarter than me. He's studied political science and political theory his entire life and teaches it at Yale. So, yeah, don't expect my political commentary to be exactly incisive compared to his. But, as I say, frequently nowadays, everybody has to start somewhere.
Very old books risk overlooking the issues facing us today. What can Aristotle or Hobbes tell us about the world of globalization, of terrorism, of ethnic conflict, and the like? Doesn't political science make any progress? After all, economists no longer read Adam Smith. I hesitate to...
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't hesitate to say.
I missed that last time. That's an interesting thing to think about, actually. And I would actually say lots of economists do read Adam Smith. And lots of older thinkers. Like Hayek and Mises are also still read a lot in economic circles, at least in, the Chicago and Austrian schools. And Keynes is also, everyone worships Keynes' long dead body.
You will never read Adam Smith in an economics course here at Yale, and it is very unlikely that you will read Freud in your psychology classes. So
is that really true? I hope not.
Why then does political science, apparently uniquely among the social sciences, continue to study Aristotle, Locke, and other old books? These are all real questions, and I raise them now myself because they are questions I want you to be thinking about as you do your reading and work through this course. I want you to remain alive to them throughout the semester. Yes? Okay. One reason I want to suggest that we continue to read these books is not because political science makes no progress or that we are somehow uniquely fixated on an ancient past, but because these works provide us with the most basic questions that continue to guide our field. We continue to ask the same questions that were asked by Plato, Machiavelli, Hobbes, and others. We may not accept their answers, and it's very likely that we do not, but their questions are often put with a kind of unrivaled clarity and insight.
That is a very good answer to that problem of why we're still studying political science. Oh, this is our turn. I just did it again. I just did that super embarrassing XQZ thing. That's funny. I gotta stop doing that. It's embarrassing. Great job. It's just force of habit, I guess. I do shoulder check a lot when I'm driving. My girlfriend. But she thinks you can just drive with your mirrors.
People in the world, many.
I'm quoting her, by the way.
Who regard themselves
not
as
just trying to be like a sexist.
Aristotelians, Thomists, Lockeans, Kantians, even the occasional Marxist still be found in the Ivy League universities. These doctrines have not simply been refuted or replaced or historically superseded. They remain in many ways constitutive of our most basic outlooks and attitudes. They are very much alive with us today, right? So political philosophy is not just some kind of strange historical appendage to the attached to the trunk of political science. It is constitutive of its deepest problems. If you doubt the importance of the study of political ideas for politics, consider the works of a famous economist, John Maynard Keynes. Everyone's heard of him. Keynes wrote in 1935, "The ideas of economists and political philosophers, both when they are right and when they are wrong, are more powerful than is commonly understood. Practical men Keynes continues, practical men who believe themselves to be quite exempt from any intellectual influence are usually the slave of some defunct economist.
Ding, ding, ding.
Madmen in authority who hear voices in the air are distilling their frenzy from some academic scribbler of a few years back.
Oh, it's so ironic that he said that. I know I said that yesterday and today. And I think that's why I mentioned that rolling in his grave thing earlier, as I was thinking about that quote that this guy was going to say.
So Discourse
So ironic that he said that.
Study of those academic scribblers who have written books that continue to impress and create the forms of authority with which we are familiar. But one thing we should not do, right? One thing we should not do is to approach these works as if they provide somehow answers, ready-made answers to the problems of today. Only we can provide answers to our problems. Rather, the great works provide us, so to speak, with a repository of fundamental or permanent questions that political scientists still continue to rely on in their work.
Interesting point.
The great thinkers are great, not because they've created some set of museum pieces that can be cataloged, admired, and then safely ignored, like a kind of antiquities gallery in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but rather because they have defined the problems that all later thinkers and scholars have had to use in order to make sense of their world at all.
Yeah, political science is fascinatingly cumulative that way. Oh dear, what happened up here? An accident. Should we all slow down? Oh, they're slowing down. I'm not going to slow down. Oh, dude, there's actually a person. Wow. Cool. But yeah, political science is so amazingly cumulative. Like, I really think that at least you can totally draw a straight line between ancient Greek philosophy and the Enlightenment and modern political philosophy. It's really interesting that it took us so long to think up the modern political project, given how stupid it is.
Again, we still think in terms of the basic concepts and categories that were created for us long ago. Okay?
Okay.
So one thing you will quickly note is that there are no permanent answers in a study of political philosophy. A famous mathematician once said, "Every question must have a correct answer. For every question, one answer." That itself is an eminently contestable proposition. Among the great thinkers, there is profound disagreement over the answers to even the most fundamental questions concerning justice, concerning rights, concerning liberty. In political philosophy, it is never a sufficient answer to answer a question with the statement "because Plato says so," or "because Nietzsche says so."
True.
There are no final authorities in that respect in philosophy, because even the greatest thinkers disagree profoundly with one another over their answers. And it is precisely this disagreement with one another that makes it possible for us, the readers today, to enter into their conversation.
Oh, we're running out of gas. We'll make it.
We are called upon first to read and listen, and then to judge who is right. How do we know? The only way to decide is not to defer to authority, whoever's authority, but to rely on our own powers of reason and judgment. In other words, the freedom of the human mind to determine for us what seems right or best. Okay? But what are these problems that I'm referring to? What are these problems that constitute the subject matter of the study of politics?
Hey, we're almost there.
What are the questions that political scientists try to
I had to
answer.
do it that time. Thought about doing it.
Such a list may be long, but not infinite.
I should have to like do a shot or something every time I show
Among
a chick.
the
That was so
oldest and
embarrassing.
still most fundamental questions are:
I'm not gonna. Oh wow,
what
this
is
car has really good
justice?
brakes. This car, this truck.
What are the goals of a decent
Oh,
society?
also I missed what he said there. Also, we're almost there. I'll rewind in a second. Also, I think this stream is. Oh, no fines, no crashes. No fines, no crashes. We're almost there. I also think this stream has gotten a lot better. Also, something I don't like about this game is that all the great cities of Europe are so small. Like this is freaking Amsterdam. This is Amsterdam's airport, man. This is like a gas station in Canada. I can't remember the other thing I was saying. Oh yeah, this stream has gotten a lot better than the last one. Let's look over here. Sorry, I'm driving with my right hand. Sorry, my left hand. I'm using the mouse with my right hand. I just switched to the arrow keys. I don't know why I did that. We're gonna run this. Damn it! That's what I get for no flies, no crashes. Also, did we just miss our turn? No. I'm fine to pay $180 though. Oh, this is our turn. Okay, nice. We made it. Relatively intact. Where to, boss? Ooh, I don't know if I can bag it in. Ooh, that's gonna be a real tough one. Let's play it safe. That is a tough one. This, on the other hand, we can probably do. Okay. I probably should have turned right harder earlier. I think we got this though. Okay. Perfect. T, pressed Y, I don't know what that did. Perfect. Nailed it. 8 grand. 9 grand. And we're level 3. Great job. And we leveled up again. Is it probably more distance? Yeah, unless we want to start carrying toxic materials or high value cargo. 5% higher reward, 18% experience bonus. Ooh, that's a lot of experience. We should get probably at least rank 2, eh? Oh, we got an email. Oh, they raised our credit limit. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we want like 50 grand for a truck before we just roll off. Yeah. Hamburg to Berlin. Cool. Let's roll. Oh, and let's rewind the lecture a little bit. All right, we're rocking. We're rolling. Ooh, this is a nice looking truck. What are we driving? A Scania. This is a nice looking truck. Okay, engine on. Ooh. Nice. Oh, wow. Oh, this is a premium truck right here. Look how fast it shifts. Wow, we're really rolling it. This is kind of why one of the reasons why I like not buying a truck at the start of the game is that you can like try all the different kinds of trucks. Okay, are we taking a double decker or a single decker? I mean, you know what I mean. Trailer. Ooh. Okay. Brake. Good. Oh, this is a much faster trip. Come on. Ah, damn. Perfect. That's we can play now.
May be long, but not infinitely so. Among the oldest and still most fundamental questions are: what is justice? What are the goals of a decent society? How should a citizen be educated? Why should I obey the law? And what are the limits, if any, to my obligation? What constitutes the ground of human dignity? Is it freedom? Is it virtue? Is it love? Is it friendship? And of course, the all-important question, even though political philosophers and political scientists rarely pronounce it, namely, quid sit deus? What is God?
Come on, dude.
Does he
Stupid
exist?
Alfa Romeo.
And what does that imply for our obligations as human beings?
Oh, I hope we have enough gas.
Citizens.
Also, I hope we don't hit that. Okay.
Those are some of the most basic and fundamental problems of the study of politics. But
I
you
missed
might
all
say,
that again.
where does one enter this debate? Which questions does he even though political philosophers and political scientists rarely pronounce it, namely, quid sit deus? What is God?
Go,
Does
go,
he
go, go,
exist?
go, go, go. Oh,
And
okay,
what
good.
does that imply for our obligations as human beings and citizens? Those are some of the most basic and fundamental problems of the study of politics. But you might say, where does one enter this debate? Which questions and which thinkers should one pick up for oneself? Perhaps the oldest and most fundamental question that I wish to examine in the course of this semester is the question, what is a regime? What are regimes? What are regime politics? The term regime is a familiar one.
Okay.
We often hear
Ooh, that's
today
close.
about shaping regimes or about changing regimes. But what is a regime? How many kinds are there? How are they defined? What holds them together and what causes them to fall apart? Is there a single best regime?
Perfect.
Those are the questions I want us to consider.
Perfect. Let's get all the way
The
over.
concept of the regime is perhaps the oldest and most fundamental of political ideas.
Rock and
It
roll.
goes back to Plato and even before. In fact, the title of the book that you will be reading part of for this semester, Plato's Republic, is actually a translation
Get excited for that one.
of the Greek word politeia, that means constitution or regime. The Republic is a book about the regime, and all later political philosophy is a series of footnotes to Plato.
This game looks alright.
That means that it must provide a series of variations, so to speak,
Come on.
Plato's conception of the best regime.
Okay.
But what is a regime, broadly speaking?
Perfect.
Regime indicates
Dude,
a
I
form of
actually had to resist the urge to
whether
shoulder
it is
check.
ruled by the one,
So embarrassing.
the few, the many, or, is more common, some mixture or combination of these three ruling powers. The regime is defined in the first instance by how a people are governed and how public offices are distributed by election, by birth, by lot, by outstanding personal qualities and achievements, and what constitutes a people's rights and responsibilities. The regime again refers above all to a form of government. The political world does not present itself as simply an infinite variety of different shapes. It is structured and ordered into a few basic regime types. And this, I take it to be one of the most important propositions and insights of political science.
That there are different types of regimes?
Right?
It's not very deep.
But there is a corollary to this insight. The regime is always something particular. It stands in a relation of opposition to other regime types. And as a consequence, the possibility of conflict, of tension, and war is built into the very structure of politics. Regimes are necessarily partisan. That is to say, they install certain loyalties and passions in the same way that one may feel partisanship to the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or to Yale over all rival colleges and institutions, right? Fierce loyalty, partisanship, it's inseparable from the character of regime politics. These passionate attachments are not merely something that take place, you might say, between different regimes, but even within them, as different parties and groups with loyalties and attachments contend for power, for honor, and for interest. Henry Adams once cynically reflected that politics is simply the organization of hatreds. And there is more than a grain of truth to this.
Yep. That was funny.
Right?
The Adams family, I'm pretty sure I said this yesterday too, but yeah, what a bunch of smart cookies. Terrible presidents. John Adams, I think, and John Quincy Adams was also president. But yeah, super, super smart. I can't remember which Adams was alive when Teddy Roosevelt was president, but he was super wise. I can't remember what he said. He's a character frequently in, what's his name? Edmund Morris's 3-volume biography of Teddy Roosevelt, which I would highly recommend the first volume of. I will medium recommend the second volume of, and not really recommend the third volume of. I think Henry Adams. I can't remember which one. They're all named Adams.
Although he did not say that it is also an attempt to channel and redirect those hatreds and animosities towards something like a common good. This raises a question. Is it possible to transform politics, to replace enmity and factional conflict with friendship, to replace conflict with harmony? Today it is the hope of many people, both here and abroad, that we might even overcome, might even transcend the basic structure of regime politics altogether and organize our world around global norms of justice and international law. Is such a thing possible?
Nice.
It can't be ruled out, but such a world, I would note, that is to say a world administered by international courts of law, by judges and judicial tribunals, would no longer be a political world.
Interesting.
Politics only takes place within the context of the particular. It is only possible within the structure of the regime itself. But a regime is more than simply a set of formal principles, formal structures and institutions, okay? It consists of the entire way of life. The moral and religious practices, the habits, customs, and sentiments that make a people
Now
what
signaling
they
from
are.
this guy.
The regime constitutes an ethos, that is to say, a distinctive character that nurtures distinctive
breaking
human
now.
types. Every regime shapes a common character type with
Very good.
distinctive
Oh, now he
traits and
signals.
qualities. So the study of regime politics is in part a study of the distinctive national character types that constitutes a citizen body. To take an example of what I mean, when Tocqueville studied the American regime, or the democratic regime, properly speaking, in democracy in America, he started first with our formal political institutions as enumerated in the Constitution, such things as the separation of powers, the division between state and federal government, and so on, but then went on to look at such informal practices as American manners and morals.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the
tendency
monitor.
to form small civic associations, our peculiar moralism
Ugh.
and religious life, our defensiveness about democracy, and so on. All of these intellectual and moral customs and habits help to constitute the democratic regime. In this
another
regime,
one?
In this sense, the
Brutal.
regime describes the character or
Is there one
tone
behind me or something?
of a society. What
yeah.
a society finds most praiseworthy. What
Just get
it
behind him.
looks up to. Okay? You can't understand
What a dick.
the regime unless you understand
He's speeding now.
what it stands for. What a people stand
I'm glad I caught that. That would have taken me a long
look
time.
up to
Let's rewind a second.
as well. Democratic regime. In this regime, in this sense, the regime describes the character or tone of a society. What a society finds most praiseworthy, what it looks up to. Okay? You can't understand a regime unless you understand what it stands
Excuse me.
for.
Sorry, now I sneeze very loud.
People stand for, what they look up to, as well as its structure of institutions and rights and privileges. This raises a further set of questions that we will consider over the term. How are regimes founded? The founding of regimes. What brings them into being and sustains them over time?
Ooh, that was close.
For thinkers like Tocqueville, for example, regimes are embedded in the deep structures of human history that have determined over long centuries the shape of our political institutions and the way we think about them. Yet other voices within the tradition, Plato, Machiavelli, Rousseau come to mind, believe that regimes can be self-consciously founded through deliberate acts of great statesmen, or founding fathers, as we might call them.
I definitely belong to the second
These
school there.
statesmen,
Oh, don't flip.
Machiavelli,
You're
for
good.
example, refers to Romulus, Moses, Cyrus as the founders that he looks to. We might think of men like Washington, Jefferson, Adams, and the like, are shapers of peoples and institutions.
It's a very interesting question,
The
though.
very first of the Federalist Papers by Alexander Hamilton even begins by posing this question in the starkest terms. It has
Oh, I
been
love the
frequently
opening.
remarked,
Listen.
Hamilton writes, that it seems to have been reserved to the people of this country, by their conduct and example, to decide the important question, whether societies of men are really capable or not of establishing good government from reflection and choice, or whether they are forever destined to depend for their political constitutions on accident and force.
That's right, America. It's what your country is all about. It's honestly what this entire continent is about in the entire democratic experiment, is whether or not we actually are fit to run things ourselves and collectively, and not to be subject to our whims. So thanks for tuning in and learning a little bit more about this. This coward did not run that red.
There we see Hamilton asking the basic question about the founding of political institutions. Are they created, as he puts it, by reflection and choice, that is to say, by a deliberate act of statecraft and conscious human intelligence, or are regimes always the product of accident, circumstance, custom, and history? But the idea that regimes may be created or founded by a set of deliberate acts raises a further question that we will study and is inseparable from the study of regimes.
What are you doing it?
Yes, Pop.
Ah!
Who is a statesman? What is a statesman?
You paid a lot of money in fines. That was the
Again,
third
one
one.
of the oldest questions of political science, very rarely asked by the political science of today, that is very skeptical of the language of
Ooh,
statesmanship.
cool.
In its oldest sense, political science simply was a science of statecraft. It was addressed to statesmen or potential statesmen charged
Okay, what do
with
you want?
steering the ship of state. What are the qualities necessary for
I can do that.
sound statesmanship? How does statecraft differ from other kinds of activities? Must the good statesman, as Plato believed, for example, be a philosopher, versed in poetry, mathematics, and metaphysics? Or is statesmanship, as Aristotle believed, a purely practical skill
Alright, scoot this up.
requiring judgment based on deliberation and experience? Is a
Maybe I can
streak
back
of
it in.
cruelty and a willingness to act immorally necessary for statecraft, as Machiavelli infamously
Doesn't look like it, eh?
argued? Must the statesman be capable of
Oh,
really
going the wrong way.
transforming human nature?
Oh, I always forget that S is the
Rousseau
break.
maintains.
It's just.
Or
Oh, I didn't mean
is
to
the
skip.
sovereign
I meant to do it differently. Whoops.
a more or less faceless bureaucrat
Perfect.
in the manner of a modern, say, a modern CEO, as, for example, someone like Hobbes seems to have believed? All of our texts that we will read, the Republic,
You
the
work with me.
Politics,
Cool.
the Prince, the Social Contract, have different views on the qualities of statecraft and what it is, those qualities
Castle
necessary
Run.
to found and maintain
Also, we're taking
states
flowers.
that we will be considering. All of this in
Whoa, this is a cool truck. Oh, this is a pretty cool truck. Look at it, it's so futury. Ooh, it's got folding seats. Look at the sleeper cab. This is a pretty fancy truck. This is what we gotta be saving up for. Dang. Also, look at the view out of this thing. Incredible. And I think it's a big old trailer. These are my favorite jobs. These are the ones where I get into trouble. Also, let's rewind to the TED. I was actually really interested in that question.
But the idea that regimes may be created or founded by a set of deliberate acts raises a further question that we will study and is
Oh,
inseparable
whoa.
from
Where did that guy come from?
Nespak. Who is a statesman? What is it?
I gotta wait till I get on the road before I, I knocked that sign over. Gotta watch out for that. This is a nice truck. Okay, let's turn here. Supposed to yield, but costs a lot of fuel efficiency to yield. Yep, you yield to me, sir. That guy knows the rules of the road. I wrote them. The rules of the stronger. The roads in Euro Truck Simulator 2 are very Hobbesian, as we will see. Oh, okay, nice. Did knock over that sign. Oh, got a break here. Oh, I don't like where the mirrors are. That's the only bad thing about this truck so far. Although it's so cool. Also, it's quiet. Alrighty. Are we good to go? I think we're good to go.
Statesman. Again, one of the oldest questions of political science, very rarely asked by the political science of today, that is very skeptical of the language of statesmanship. In its oldest sense, political science simply was the science of statecraft. It was addressed to statesmen or potential statesmen charged with steering the ship of state.
Coward!
What are the qualities necessary for sound statesmanship? How does statecraft differ from
Don't stop.
other kinds of activities?
That's what I thought.
Must the good statesman, as Plato believed, for example, be a philosopher, versed in poetry, mathematics, and metaphysics? Or is statesmanship, as Aristotle believed, a purely practical skill requiring judgment based on deliberation and experience? Is a streak of cruelty?
I have no idea, by the way, what makes a good statesman. It's a like this guy just said, it's a super, super complicated question. And I don't know where I lean between Plato and Aristotle and what he just said there. I'd say I lean more towards Aristotle. Yeah, actually, I'd say I am actually strongly in the Aristotle camp there. So many good leaders in history had absolutely no formal education and just get it from on-the-job practice.
And a willingness to act immorally necessary for statecraft.
Yep.
As Machiavelli infamously argued. Must the statesman
What was that?
be
Oh, it's a train.
capable of literally transforming human nature?
No train on
through
the,
so
on the
many
tracks, though.
means? Or is the
Did I miss a turn?
sovereign a more or less faceless bureaucrat in the manner of a modern, say, a modern CEO, as, for example,
I did miss that turn.
Hobbes seems to believe.
You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? So can we even do this? I was about to do a classic idiotic maneuver to save us time. I think we can. We gotta pause the lecture for that. Things are about to get Hobbesian. Oh, it's raining. K. P? P. Alright, time for, big, oh, I changed gears somehow. Time for a big ol' U-turn. Can we even do this with two with two trailers? Do not enter. That's a I can't read. Perfect. Oh, wrong way violation incoming. Oh yeah, 60. No need to take the main roads. I know a shortcut. Don't worry, this is gonna take so much time off our journey. Perfect. Okay, now we just have to look for an opportunity to get over. Is that it right there? No. It'll come. It'll come.
All of our texts that we will read, the Republic, the Politics, the Prince, the Social Contract.
Is there a way to speed these up?
On the qualities of statecraft and what it is those qualities necessary to found and maintain states that we will be considering.
120.
All of this, in a way, is another way of saying, or at least implying, okay, that
Kind of thought that'd be a medium break by now.
is an eminently practical discipline, a practical field.
I wonder if you can get fined for speeding in the oncoming lane.
Purpose is not simply contemplation. Its purpose is not reflection alone.
Yeah,
It
baby.
is advice giving. All of the none of the people we will study this semester were cloistered scholars detached from the world. Although this is a
Come
very
on.
common prejudice against.
Maybe I can jump the median if I hit it just right.
Somehow, uniquely.
Oh, this is
high
bad.
in the sky and detached from the world. But the great thinkers were very far from being just, so to speak, detached.
Watch out!
Plato undertook 3 long and dangerous voyages to Sicily.
Ooh, listen to that go in the tunnel.
order to advise the king Dionysius. Aristotle famously was a tutor
Dude, I
of
can't wait to.
Alexander the Great.
Oh, here we go, baby.
Machiavelli
No,
spent
no,
a
no.
large part of his career in the foreign service of his native Florence and wrote as an advisor to the Medici. Hobbes was the tutor to a royal household who followed the king
We're getting there.
into exile during
Wait,
the
am I going the
English
wrong way?
Civil War. And Locke was associated with the Shaftesbury
I think I'm
circle,
going the wrong way.
who also was forced into exile.
I think I shouldn't have
after
done what I
being
just did there.
Accused of plotting against the English king. Rousseau had no official political connections, but he signed
Well,
his name over
Good news, ladies and gentlemen,
Jean-Jacques Rousseau,
is that we can do
of
a U-turn.
Geneva, and was approached to write constitutions for Poland and for the island of Corsica. And Tocqueville was a member of the French National Assembly,
Simple as that, folks.
whose experience of American democracy deeply affected the way he saw the future of Europe. So the great political thinkers were typically engaged in the politics of their times, and
Probably not gonna get it there on
often
time
to
anymore.
provide us, okay, with models for how we might think about ours.
Am I in the wrong tunnel again?
A little break for refreshment.
I think I'll take some refreshing myself.
But this goes in a slightly different direction as
It's
well.
foggy in the tunnel.
Not only is this study
Blue water.
of the regime, as we've seen, as I just tried to indicate, rooted in many ways, the practical experience of the thinkers we'll be looking at, but the study of regime politics, either implicitly or explicitly, raises a question that
It's
goes
funny that I fucked
beyond
that up.
the boundary of any given society. A regime, as I've said, constitutes a people's way of life, what they believe makes their life worth living, or to put it again slightly different, what a people stand for.
Is there a way to go faster than 90? I really hope so. Oh, we're chugging here a little bit. That was weird.
Although we are most familiar with the character of a modern democratic regime such as ours, the study of political philosophy is in many ways a kind of immersion into what we might call today comparative politics. That is to say, it opens up to us the variety of regimes, each with its own distinctive set of claims or principles, each
What's
vying
that?
and potentially in conflict with all the others. Okay? Underlying this cacophony of regimes is the question.
Why does it keep moving this thing?
Which of these regimes is best?
Oh, maybe I added stops to my
What has
route.
or ought to have a claim on our loyalty?
Oh yeah, this
and
is shorter now.
rational consent. Political philosophy is always guided by the question of the best regime. But what is the best regime? Even to raise such a question seems to pose insuperable obstacles. Isn't that completely subjective judgment, what one thinks is the best regime? How could one begin such a study? Is the best regime as
The Republic, which is probably why we're starting the Republic. Like, the actual central question of the first 4 books of the Republic is, how can we think of the best regime by ourselves? Like 4 people getting absolutely wasted.
ancients tended to believe, Plato, Aristotle, and others, is it
Although we're actually starting with the Apology and Crito, and I actually read the Apology yesterday. No, I started it yesterday. I finished it today. I was gonna maybe do a double feature today, but I don't think it will. Also, this game doesn't seem to be very popular. This is the second time I streamed it, no one tuned in.
is it an aristocratic republic?
Or I don't seem to be very
in which
popular.
only the few best habitually rule? Or is the best regime, as the moderns believe, a democratic republic where in principle political office is open to all by virtue of their membership in society alone? Will the best regime be a small, closed society that through generations has made a supreme sacrifice towards self-perfection? Think of that. Or will the best regime be a large cosmopolitan order embracing all human beings, perhaps even a kind of universal League of Nations consisting of all free and equal men and women? Whatever form the best regime takes, however, it will always favor a certain kind of human being with a certain set of character traits. Is that type the common man, as found in democracies? Those of acquired taste and money, as in aristocracies? The warrior, or even the priest, as in theocracies?
Interesting.
No question that I can think of can be more fundamental. And this finally raises the question of the relation between the best regime, or the good regime, and what we could say are actually existing regimes that we are all familiar with. What function does the best regime play in political science? How does it guide our actions here and now? This issue received a kind of classic formulation in Aristotle's distinction of what he called the good human being and the good citizen. For the good citizen, we'll read this chapter later on in the Politics, for the good citizen, you could say, patriotism is enough to uphold and defend the laws of your own country simply because they are your own is both necessary and sufficient.
It's not what Socrates would say.
Such a view of citizen virtue runs into the obvious
Is
objection.
that really what Aristotle would say? That's crazy. I've never read Aristotle. I've never had to.
That the good citizen of one regime will be at odds with the good citizen of another. A good citizen of contemporary Iran will not be the same as the good citizen of contemporary America. But the good citizen, Aristotle goes on to say, is not the same as the good human being, right? Well, the good citizen is relative to the regime. You might say regime specific. The good human being, so he believes, is good everywhere. The good human being loves what is good simply, not because it is his own, but because it is good. Some sense of this was demonstrated in Abraham Lincoln's judgment about Henry Clay, an early idol of Lincoln's. Lincoln wrote of Clay, he loved his country, he said, partly because it was his own country, partly because it was his own country, but mainly because it was a free country. His point, I think, is that Clay exhibited, at least on Lincoln's telling, something of the philosopher. What he loved was an idea, the idea of freedom. That idea was not the property of one particular country, but it was constitutive of any good society. The good human being, it would seem, would be a philosopher, or at least would have something philosophical about him or her.
I don't even feel the need to contribute here, but I'm pretty sure that you guys get the impression that I am definitely not somebody who thinks that you should support your nation just because it's yours and it's where you live. Definitely fall into the latter camp there.
And who may only be fully at home in the best regime. But of course, the best regime lacks actuality. We all know that. It has never existed. The best regime embodies a supreme paradox, it would seem. It is superior, in some ways, to all actual regimes, but it has no concrete existence anywhere. This makes it difficult, you could say, and this is Aristotle's point, I think. This makes it difficult for the philosopher to be a good citizen of any actual regime.
Trucks moving trucks.
Philosophy will never feel fully or truly at home in any particular society. The philosopher can never be truly loyal to anyone or anything but what is best. Think of that. Raises a question about issues of love, loyalty, and friendship. This tension, of course, between the best regime and any actual
Yeah, let's win tour level 10.
is
to buy a truck.
the space that makes political philosophy possible. In the best regime, if we were to inhabit such, political philosophy would be unnecessary or redundant. It would wither away. Political
I think it's totally
philosophy
untrue, by the way.
exists and only exists in that, call it, zone of indeterminacy between the is.
Political problems are so complicated that there's no hypothetical perfect system that could account for all of them. The perfect system is one that adapts and continues to enrich itself and self-improve, which means that the political process can never be finished.
And
in my opinion. Yale guy.
Between the actual and the ideal. This is why political philosophy is always necessarily a potentially disturbing undertaking. Those who embark on the quest for knowledge of the best regime may not return the same people that they were before.
It's true.
You may return with very different loyalties and allegiances than you had in the beginning.
Be very interested to see if what I think about differently politically by the time we finish this series. Like, I've only watched like 3 or 4 of these videos. You know, like I said in my introduction video for my the history of political thought course that I took at the University of Calgary.
But there is some.
And also, I'm excited to see how my ideology transforms while I work at this project. It's a terribly quiet single sound. Alright, we gotta slow down.
Compensation for this, I think.
What is this chugging?
The ancients had a beautiful word, or at least the Greeks had a beautiful word for this
Nailed
quest,
it.
for this desire for knowledge.
Did that
of
at
the best
80.
regime. They called it
Eros?
eros,
Yeah.
or love.
Fascinating that the Greeks did that, by the way. I'm not sure how close Eros ties to, like, nationalism, or not nationalism, I'd say love of state. I'm actually not sure, but if that's true, that's fascinating, isn't it? Oh, man, the breaks in these games are too good.
Right? The quest for knowledge of the best regime must necessarily be accompanied, sustained, It's elevated.
Oh!
You may not have realized it when you walked into this class today.
How are we gonna get out of this? Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is terrible. Yeah. Oh, we're like stuck. We're like actually. Uh oh, people honking. We're like actually stuck on it though. Ooh. Diff lock. Okay, let's turn our wheels the other way. We can't back up. We may literally need to ask for help. Oh, crap. F7. Tow to service. $800. And it'll go to Castle. Where are we going? Are we going to Castle? We are. I don't think we can move. Oh, adjust trailer. I can't do that one? It's a little bit annoying. Also, it's gonna take a long time, but we're stuck. I hope those flowers are okay. We did hit that thing hard. Oh, and we're still in reverse. Well, that's how it goes sometimes. F5, right turn. Just try not to do that again. He says as he almost does it again. Damn, that was close. Actually, how was I supposed... I barely did that.
But the study of political philosophy may be the highest tribute we pay to love.
Aw. No idea what we were talking about. Oh, arrows.
Think of it.
That was a sweet thing to say, wasn't it?
And while you're thinking about it, you can start reading Plato's Apology for Socrates, which you will discuss for class on Wednesday.
Already did, Professor.
It's nice to see you back. And have a very good but thoughtful September 11th.
No. Sorry. I forgot about that. That was that was weird. That was a weird note to end on. I was about to make an ending,
Okay, I want to
comment
begin with a
myself. Oh, we're
question.
gonna stop there. We're gonna stop there. Let's park this thing, and then we'll be done with the first episode of our convoy. I feel like I was actually a little bit more articulate in the last episode, surprisingly enough. Not this one, but that's fine with me. This introduction actually worked. Oh yeah, this is gonna be tough to line up. Yeah, jeez. Let's just go. Okay, that wasn't so bad. And we leveled up again. Okay, let's go high value cargo level 2. Alright, perfect. And yeah, we're done with our first lecture. And so I think we're done with our convoy for today. I think did we double our money? We started with 27,000 and we have 40,000 now, and I can't remember how much like money we actually started with. Yeah, the trucks we're looking at. I would love that Scania truck, just for the record. Buy online. Requires level 8, so maybe we'll buy this one at level 8 and we'll get a loan. Because if we can get a $500,000 loan from the bank. Let's take a look. Can we look at the bank? Yeah. Yeah, we can get 400 grand. So, ooh, 3,000 a day? Whoa. That's a big ask. But also, it's going to take us a really long time to get 164,000. And that's just for the base truck, you know? Well, actually, I mean, if we, yeah. Ooh, if we customize the configuration here. Okay, looks like we need level 8 anyway, huh? Oh, okay, so perfect. We can, first of all, see the interior. That's super important. Like, I wonder if this one has the center navigation. Ooh, and this one does. Oh, and we can go on the other side if we want. I'm good. And yeah, there is navigation over there. But I do think I want to wait for the classic Globetrotter. 164. That's going to take us a while to afford. So we can... The cabin, the chassis... I wonder what the chassis upgrades do. Engine... it doesn't change the top speed, does it? The top speed's always 90. Transmission... Oh, this one comes with a retarder. Ah... Paint job, I'm excited for that. Accessories, ooh, lots of room to accessorize. And interior accessories as well. Windshield sets. Dash. Like, what can I get? Accessory slide, ooh, Rocket League car? What? That's cool. Well, we're still over 100 grand away from it, so... I wish you could also look at how nice other jobs are. We're gonna have to wait till we're level 8 anyway. 9 grand. That's a good one. 2562. That's a really good one. Anyway, yeah, we'll pick it up where we left off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.